I'm now joined by Casan Evans out of Houston, St. Pius X. He's the #1 player in Texas in 2024 and the top-ranked right-hander in the nation in that class. Casan, man, good to have you in.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. One of 2 uncommitted players in the top 5 in the country in your class. Some of the other top guys have been locked up for years. How have you stayed patient during this process?
Just a lot of help from my family and things like that going into this. Not really expecting this much attention from college coaches. But once it started up, me and my family talked about it. And we're like, we're going to wait. We're going to make sure you make the right decision. And that decision can be made between your junior and senior year when we know you're ready. And that we know that it'll be the college you'll love going to.
Part of the fun is obviously doing these official campus visits. I know you got to do one at TCU last month during the Oklahoma game. What are you ultimately looking for in both a program and a school?
I'm looking for my main thing is ability to play two-way and also the community that surrounds me. And with all these schools, I think they had a great community and like they were like a family when they were on the field or off the field together. All the baseball players hung out together. They had their other friends here and there, but it was mainly just the baseball dudes. And just everywhere I went, it felt like I could be a part of that program. But in the end, I can only pick one, so it's kind of hard to make that decision.
You mentioned obviously trying to be a two-way guy. You're also a third baseman and a shortstop along with a pitcher. So what has been the message from coaches in terms of you wanting to be a two-way guy and these schools being open to you taking on that role within their program?
They're all for it. They've all said if I can get 2 guys and 1 player, then perfect. They're offering me the ability to play two-way, but they all said it's the hardest thing to do in college baseball. You got to work at it. You're going to be the last one on. You're going to be the first one on the field, last one off the field. You got to put in that extra work if you want to go and be a two-way player at one of the highest levels of baseball. So I already know it's going to be hard doing it at the high school level. It's already hard there, but once you get to college, it's a whole different story, and I'm prepared for it, honestly.
So let's talk a little bit about you as a pitcher. PBR scouts talk about the command of the fastball to both sides of the plate, that swing and miss curveball as well. Tell me a little bit about your mentality when you're on the mound.
I just love to have fun. A lot of players I've played with before the game, they're locked in, they're ready to go. But if you ever watched me before a game, I'm messing around with dudes, having fun, doing my thing. But once my foot steps over that line, it's game time. When I get on the mound, it's like, all right, here comes a fastball. I'm gonna give it to you, and if you don't hit it, you don't hit it. Most likely, they don't hit it because I'm able to put it in the right spot, and I have the arm to throw it by them. So it's fun when I'm up there, but also it's challenging knowing that if I place this in the wrong spot, then it could be hit a long way. And sometimes they get lucky; they just miss the ball, either a rollover or a pop up. But it's a whole different story for me on the mound rather than off the field. It's crazy, really.
The last I heard, the fastball was up to 95. Is that still the max for you right now?
During the summer, I went to area code and I was able to get up to 96. And then shortly after, I had an arm injury, so that was it for the rest of the summer. But hopefully this year it gets higher in the spring. This last spring that I had at St. Pius was an amazing one. Jumping from my freshman and sophomore year, I feel like was the biggest jump I've had. I went from sitting 88, 89 all freshman year, couldn't hit that 90, and playing the summer, same thing. And then went back in the fall, just rested my arm, worked out a lot, and took care of my body. Came back next spring, and at the end of the spring, I was sitting 92, 95, which was one of the biggest increases I've seen in my arm velocity.
So do you have your sights on triple digits? I mean, and if so, what's the path to make something like that happen?
I do. Hopefully I can get there this year, but my pitching coach, Coach Burns, he's really good at just keeping our arm healthy. That's the main goal. It doesn't matter to me if I can throw 100. It matters to me if I can sit 90, 92, 94 and just place it wherever I want to place it. I feel like that's the biggest game changer, and that's what some pitchers don't realize, is that you don't have to throw as hard as you can to get guys out. It's all about the movement. And even like an inch or two will get them to roll over or pop up. So triple digits, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to hit them, but it's not really a worry for me.
Hey, Greg Maddux made an entire career out of location on the mound. So obviously that sometimes that way leads a little bit more the velocity. You were coached at St. Pius X by your dad, Mike, who was a former draft pick of the Kansas City Royals, spent 6 years in that organization. I'm curious, do you guys have ground rules in terms of leaving the game at the field and then kind of switching back to that father-son relationship? Like, how do you guys find that balance between being father and son and coach and player?
You know, so he's been my coach for, I don't know, I want to say 7, 8 years now. And before that, he was like a second dad to me. His name is Dane Mazziotti. He played in the Rays organization, and he was my coach, and I was best friends with his son. And I've always had like almost a dad figure coaching me. So once my actual dad became my coach, it was like it felt normal. But when I got to high school, I knew that since he was my coach, that I would have to work my butt off to be able to be on varsity, and then that so that I have to earn that spot, so people weren't just like, "Oh, you're on varsity because your dad." I'm like, no, I can do this better than anybody else on this team. That's why I'm on this team. But on and off the field, it's coach. It's coach, yes sir, Coach Evans, and then off the field is dad. What are you doing? This and that, and it's pretty cool how we deal with it. Because we'll come home, and it's like we never even played a game, or we don't even play the game of baseball. So it's pretty cool how he deals with it and how I deal with it, and I just think it's super cool that we're able to do that.
Well, I'm sure he loves going along for this ride with you right now. So you talked a little bit about your approach on the mound. I want to kind of see how you do what you do. I had you get a baseball. Why don't you run us through your pitch grips?
Yeah. Okay. So first, my fastball, I don't really throw much of a four seam. I throw kind of like a two seam close grip, get a little bit of run on the ball, make it run into the righties. And then I've learned it over the past 2 years to where I can throw it into a lefty. You just got to throw it at their body and trust it to come back in. So it's been my power pitch. I have some videos of it where it's just like you can see 15 inches of run, and it just starts in the inside part of the plate and just goes outside. It's one of my favorite pitches to throw. The next pitch would be a curveball. Kind of find wherever I grip it, I would kind of find the high seam. So like on this ball, it would be like right here, and then I would grip it there, and then just rip my middle finger down, and then to be able to get that action that we've been looking for. And it's really been a put away pitch against hitters, especially lefties, because I can place it on the back foot or the back knee, or I can get it right under the hands where they swing over the top of it. And then recently I kind of got like a split change, and I just turn over on it to where it just dives. I used to throw a splitty that was putting stress on the arm, so I had to stop. But once I got this split change last year, it's been unbeatable. I mean, I think maybe one person's made good contact with it since I've thrown it. So it's a pretty unique pitch, and it's pretty sweet that I can place it wherever it needs to be placed.
Fantastic stuff, Casey. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.